Hello, everybody, and welcome to the A Little Bit More podcast. Look at this. Kevin and I are both back at the same time.
At the same time.
Listen, I watched last episode with old Sloaney. That's what I call him, old Sloaney.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. We're really blessed to have that guy around here on staff. The kids have him as their student pastor. I've really gotten to know him a little bit. He's a good dude.
He's funnier than I am, which I appreciate that. So
not hard to do.
But yeah, so it's probably been like a month since you and I were in these chairs together.
Yeah,
you were
at
on your
least.
study break, and then I was gone last week. And
good trip for you?
Fantastic. Anytime in Florida is a good time. That's what I like to say. So it helps to have in-laws that live there. So if you can do that, go ahead and do it. All right.
We got a random question.
Is this from our audience?
No, this is just from my brain. You did a couple questions when Michael was on, when he started the series. If you were being forced, you had to eat 10,000 calories in one day, but it could only be one food.
I don't know.
So you're saying that's not normally to eat 10,000 calories?
I don't know what.
Well, but it has to be one food. Like,
what does calorie equal? Like 1 calorie is like a hot dog? I don't even know.
Okay. This
might
not work out well.
Give me an example.
Whatever.
How much is a scoop of ice cream?
Scoop of ice cream would probably be, depending on the type, like I would imagine 200-300.
I couldn't do that much
I would
dairy.
do 10 scoops of ice cream.
That gets you to 2,000.
How much were you shooting for?
10,000.
Oh.
Like that's an absurd. The average person
All right,
eats
and some
around
lasagna.
2,000 to 2,000.
No, McDonald's nugs. Come on, man.
Oh,
That's true. We would all just go to McDonald's and polish that off.
Yeah.
I've done the math. It would take 4 of the large peanut butter containers, and I think I can do that.
You could do
There's
that?
no way you can eat
100%.
that much peanut butter. That would clog up the old pipes.
I don't think I'd ever want to eat peanut butter again.
What if we just order the menu at McDonald's? How much would that cost? That'd be something.
I'll look that up.
I would like to know if you went and said, I would like one of everything, how much that would cost you. That'd be a couple calories.
You would have a very frustrated staff. I want one of everything.
Well, we'd share it with our friends.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whoever thinks about that.
All right, that it is over 30,000 calories for the entire
Order the menu.
That's a lot more nuggets than I thought then.
So you said how many are we supposed to?
A 10-piece nugget.
So we have 3 friends. All 3 of us. We each eat 10,000.
A 10-piece nugget, depending on sauce, is 420 calories.
Oh, that's a lot of nuggets.
So that would be a lot.
Yeah,
of
but
nuggets.
calories are really small. You can't even see them.
Yeah.
They're invisible.
All right.
So I don't know what
That's my
food I would
question.
pick.
Yeah.
I'm on a lasagna kick, mostly because I don't eat very many carbs anymore because it causes inflammation and back pain. That's a little bit more. But I love lasagna.
Yeah.
It is so good.
What's your favorite lasagna place?
I just had lasagna recently, and it was phenomenal. It was at Casa's.
Oh, yeah.
They had the sweet sauce. Oh, my goodness.
So a place we would frequent as a kid was,
Fazoli's.
yes, but we used to go to Olive Garden.
I love Olive Garden.
I couldn't remember the last time we went to Olive Garden, and we went through our gift cards, and we had one to Olive Garden.
Dude, it's so good.
We went, I'm like, why? This place is underrated.
When you're here, your family.
Yeah.
I would go to Italian Olive Garden every day of my
You
life.
get salad, breadsticks.
All those are carbs, though. Carbs taste so good.
You're full before your meal gets there.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And we're off on all sorts of tangents today.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more of random information. But hey, that's what we do
That's
here.
where we're here. Well, we're supposed to be in Acts 17.
Acts 17, we're plowing through the book of Acts. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, we took a couple breaks here and there. You know, we went through Galatians and we went through James, and then now we're after this. Now we're going to be going into Thessalonians. We kind of went through Thessalonians a little bit last week, and so some of these with the reading plan, you're going to hit most of the book, and we may just hit like 1 week. Or one chapter of what you went through the entire week. So we may even only talk a small portion of the book. So that's why if we're like, we were just in Galatians and now we're back into Acts. Why is that? We're following this reading plan, and so we're a little over 11 weeks in. So this will be awesome. the 12th week going in, and so it's
3 months.
Yeah, it's kind of cool you're past the habit point. is what I've been telling people is. So if you've been reading along with us, and if you haven't, just jump in where you're at. But for those who have at the beginning, hopefully it's kind of come this discipline, which is interesting enough. It's kind of how Acts chapter 17 starts. It talks about Paul, and it was his custom to do these things.
Yeah.
And
that was his ritual, his routine.
Yeah, and he's visiting these cities that already had their thoughts in place. So the passage a couple times talks about him reasoning with the people. Well, you usually aren't reasoning with someone if they believe everything that you believe. So they had idols in place. They had different thought process. Their thought process was vastly different. Their community was different. And so they really weren't worshiping the same God. And what Paul is trying to do is bring them back to truth. And they were saying, hey, is this dude a wizard? Is this guy demonic? Some of them were giving their life to Christ. So 17 is packed with so much going on here. But it's interesting to talk about it from a rooted perspective. I'm curious of some of your thoughts as we've kind of gone through this. But we keep talking about, when you look at the fruit and you examine the fruit, it tells a lot about the root system. Is it dried up? Is it healthy? And also it's a good self-reflective piece too. We were just recently talking about at the staff kind of a reflective question of, do we truly believe that God is at work before we show up? Before we show up. So what I mean by that is, if you own your own business, do you believe that God has already shown up before you show up to the meeting? Before you turn your lights on in your office? Before, you could take that in parenting too. Do you believe that God created your son or daughter, knows the inner workings of how they rebel, listen, don't listen, or do you believe that it totally hinges on you? I mean, you can play that out in your finances.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone just recently, I think that's oftentimes why we hold on to our money is because we don't see work as worship. And when we don't see work as worship, we feel like all the money that we made from that job is ours because we earned it. But
yeah, being human is interesting because we're only seeing out of our own eyes.
Correct. Yeah.
So obviously we make a lot of things about ourselves. We get big head syndrome. And so the trick is learning to see bigger perspective and putting others first. And I think that's why I love, obviously I go back to songs a lot. I love singing songs at church that help us. Sometimes we sing a song and we might not even know we need to sing it until we sing it. Like I Need Thee Every Hour, or Lord, I Need You, or I Surrender. There's a lot of songs that we intentionally put in the set list because we're forgetful people and we're selfish people, and we need to just be reminded that we need Jesus every day. Yeah. And when we get that out of balance and feel like, I got this, that's when all this stuff that we're talking about here, we can get a lot of trouble with that.
No pun intended, but one of the verses, I've kind of alluded to it, and as I've studied through this portion for Rooted, that one of the verses I've kind of rooted myself in is Matthew 10:8, where it says, freely I receive, freely I give. The gift of life, we received it. Do we give our life, right? I mean, and that's what I think Paul is trying to communicate. And if you go towards the end of the passage, he says in verse 27, though he is not far from each of us. And something else, as I'm kind of sitting with the text, I think oftentimes when we read scripture, we kind of read it like we would read another book. God, what concepts are you trying to reveal to us? What truth are you revealing? He is revealing truth. He is revealing concepts. But I think the number one thing that God is revealing when we read Scripture is Himself.
I was going to answer that.
Yeah,
That was good.
It's this.
It's
just,
true though.
And when you read the word that way, it's like, man, He's revealing who He is. The God of the universe is revealing Himself to us through His word. It's not just a concept. It's not just something He wants us to get. He does, but He wants a relationship with us. And I think oftentimes we put our roots in other things, or you can even put your roots in the church, but still miss Jesus. And that's an even sadder reality.
For sure.
Where we can be much like the Pharisees, where we root ourselves in legalism or church work that we miss
and other stuff. You
the
miss
deeper
it.
relationship.
Yeah. When we love like Jesus and live like missionaries, like we're saying, and we put that emphasis first, Jesus plus nothing is all you need.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we say, no, well, if I can help this cause and this cause. No, you live your life like Jesus, and when you're doing that, then all those things just happen.
Yeah.
It should just happen.
Yeah.
So we've talked about that several times through Galatians and Acts. There's a very similar theme in that about humility and putting others first, Jesus first, others, and then yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I think something too, like when you look at a chapter like chapter 17, Paul is a man who had cultural intelligence. And I think oftentimes we don't really want to we want to own a narrative. We want people to agree with us. We don't really want to have cultural intelligence. So when he's going to Athens, he's going to these different places. He's trying to learn about the culture and then speak into
the
culture.
That culture was all about knowledge and learning
and to go back to that word reason, I'm really convicted. I don't know that. I think it's going to be a really big uphill battle. It has been an uphill battle. But how do we get to a place in culture where we can get back to a place of reasoning? Because if the church has any hope to be unified, and I don't mean tolerance. Anytime I use the word unity, I don't mean we need to find a place of tolerance. I'm not saying that. But if we're going to find a place of unity, there has to be a place where we get back to the opportunity to reason with one another, to share ideas, but to discern God's truth. And to be careful not to celebrate the wrong things. I think sometimes we're afraid to tell someone the truth because we're afraid that the relationship will go away. Yet Paul was very blunt to these individuals because he knew that the relationship wasn't real at all if he wasn't honest with them.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we're afraid to tell family members or friends that they're living in sin because we're afraid the relationship will dry up. You're actually stealing an opportunity for growth and for the Spirit to work in you and through that person. And I think oftentimes we don't know how to offer God broken things. And we want to only offer Him what we can control or what already seems good to us. But Scripture says He can make all things new. So I think sometimes we got to be real with one another and say, hey, I know that you're living in sin, but I believe in a God who's not a harsh God, but a God who can redeem all things. And I want to tell you about that God. But we got to get to a place where we can reason and a place where we're bold enough to begin to have those conversations. And I think that's what Acts 17 is beginning to reveal. He lives much in a culture like we live in, where it's, I had the staff do this exercise where I said, does anyone have Facebook on your phone? And I just had them pull it up, and someone from our staff pulled it up, and I said, okay, what are they trying to reason through a post? I said, don't read any names. I don't need any names, but read us the post. Read us is there a picture involved? What is there? We're in a culture that is constantly trying to reason their narrative. But as believers, do we have a reason for our hope? As 1 Peter talks about, have a reason for the hope that you have. And I think that boldness, we're going to have to practice some of those things. I think those muscles in our spirituality are pretty rusty.
No, I agree. Yeah, that's why I think this is so interesting. In Acts 17, it says, as was his custom, like we said, Paul went to the synagogue, and on 3 Sabbath days he reasoned with them, explaining and proving that the Messiah had to suffer and rise from the dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
So there's at least 3 weeks time. So about a month he's spending time with them. So he's let these times go by. So 3 different Sabbath days he's gone and had these conversations with them. So there's consistency there. Yeah, what does proving look like?
Yeah, explaining and proving. Because they were obviously way off track with a lot of stuff, because he even says later on about how he saw that there's even just a sign for an unknown God. These people were really searching.
Yep.
Even though they didn't, like, they knew they were missing something. And that was really gutsy for Paul to go into that, arena sort of, and just, have you ever been part of a debate club or anything?
Yeah, it's called Talking to My Son. No, I've never been.
Me neither. I feel like that's almost a gifting, is people who are able to debate. I don't have that, but I always thought it was fascinating.
The problem is I'd probably be pretty good at that, but
would be.
I don't know that I should be good at it.
But they have like clubs in high school and
Sure.
colleges and stuff where I think there's debate clubs, and I've always been just super intimidated by that. But I'm intrigued by people who are able to go out and have intellectual conversations with people. Because our culture is very much like, people get lost in the weeds of intellect when actually, like, faith is a pretty simple thing to wrap your mind around. But people get so lost in, like, well, that's what these folks were dealing with. They just were constantly looking for the newest thoughts and ideas to talk about, because I don't know if it made them feel smarter or what. They just wanted to be on the cutting edge of that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's why I love that he brought it right back to who Jesus was and why he came to the earth to do what he had to do. I mean, all of us can share that.
Yes.
And that's what we're coming into Easter season. We're going to have opportunities. If you pray for opportunities, the Lord will give you opportunities to share that truth. Mm-hmm. So maybe even start preparing yourself now, reading through the story, reading through some of these things we've been talking about why Jesus had to come. We learned that in Galatians. Mm-hmm. All goes back to being able to share that with people. That's the gospel, the good news. And we don't have to be some crazy intellectual genius to share that. I mean, little kids can share that.
No, and I think we have almost created a narrative in the church of this is what it has to look like. I would be looking for people on my path. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to humble yourself before the Lord, mm-hmm. and to be willing to hear from the Spirit. What is it that you have for me, and what do you have for them? Mm-hmm. And I think if you can get to that place where you can wake up and humble yourself before the Lord, Spirit, fill me from head to toe, mm-hmm. And you can walk in that type of freedom. Because mm-hmm. remember, freedom is not inward, it's outward.
Yeah.
And I think we have we've misdiagnosed what freedom is. Freedom is not about security and about making sure that we have it all. It's outward. Mm-hmm. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, but the fruit on the tree doesn't exist for the tree itself. It exists for others. Mm-hmm. The harvest, it exists for others. Our life should exist for others.
The fruit of the Spirit that we have is for us.
So if the fruit of the Spirit is working in us, then what they pull from our life isn't even from us. We can't take credit from it. It's from the Spirit. And anything they are taking from us that we're taking credit for, is it really worth anything? Is it really true fruit? And so, once again, your fruit's always going to reveal where the roots are.
Yeah.
It's going to tell the health of it, but it's also going to tell how deep they are. Although the roots are oftentimes invisible, you can tell exactly where they are and how deep they are. Mm-hmm. We're in that season of, storms and tornadoes and all that. And it's really interesting to watch, a town just be destroyed. And then to see what's still standing at the same time. And the same was true with hurricanes. It's interesting if you've ever done any study on, a palm tree and how like they have the ability to kind of spring back. It's almost like a spine that they have. And it's interesting how God has created that to kind of bounce back and the root system behind that. But the health of it.
Yep.
So what does that look like? So
that's good. Well, hey, to wrap us up, that's a good action step. Before you hit stop and move on with your day, maybe just stop and pray and say, Lord, is there someone? Give me some eyes to see, put some in my path, and then Holy Spirit, give me the words to share the good news. Man, we got good news, and we're coming into Easter season. Like I said, it's going to be very evident to the world what Easter, that Easter's here. And that we can share the good news of Jesus with those in our zone. So there you go. That's a little bit more. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you all, Lord willing, next week. Have a good one.
See you guys.